Practice set 11. Find the dimensions given on the following rulers. First, we need to determine the scale by looking between any two long vertical lines which represent an inch. So on ruler number 1, we have 1 and 2, and we're looking at the number of divisions. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 divisions, which tells us that we're working with a scale factor of 1/4 of an inch on this ruler. Once we have our scale determined, we can go ahead and determine the place value or the length of where the indicated letters are. So A is 1/4 of the way to 1, so we would report that as 1/4 of an inch. B is corresponding with the big number representing 1 inch. C is 1/4, 2/4, 3/4 beyond 1, so it's the full 1 inch plus 3/4 or 1 3/4 inches. And D is located past 2, so we know it's 2 inches. And the portion beyond 2 is 1/2, so we could say it is 2 2/4 inch. However, anytime you're working with a fraction, it's a good idea to reduce. And since there is a common 2 in the numerator and the denominator, we would call this 2 1/2. After dividing the numerator by 2, 2 divided by 2 is 1, and the denominator by 2. 4 divided by 2 leaves us with 2. So D is located at 2 1/2 inches. On ruler number 2, same thing. Our procedure would be to first determine the scale by looking at the number of marks or spaces marked off between two long vertical lines, which are representing inches. So if we look between 3 and 4, this ruler has been broken, so we're starting at 3 and 4, and we count the number of spaces. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the scale for this ruler is in 1/10 of an inch, which would be helpful to convert that fraction into a decimal if we had to do calculations with these measurements. So again, we look at the place of these letters and determine where it is located along this ruler. We don't have 2. The assumption is that we would have 2 here, and just to verify that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, looks like we're halfway, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we are 6/10 beyond 2, so 2 6/10 would be our answer. Reducing that fraction, dividing top and bottom of our fraction by 2, we could call this 2 3/5, and these are in inches, or convert this into the equivalent decimal, which that would be the advantage of measuring by tenths of an inch. Much easier to calculate with this location in its equivalent decimal form of 2.6. B is 3 and how far beyond 3? 1, 2, 3/10. So we could write it as 3 3/10 of an inch for the location, or converting 3/10 into its decimal equivalency, we could call this 3.3 inches. C is just 1/10 away from 4, so we could take a tenth away from 4, or start at 3 and count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tenths. So we could call this 3 9/10, or the decimal equivalency of 3.9. D is past 5. Using that scale of 1/10 of an inch, we'll count the number of spaces beyond 5 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4. We would call this 5 4/10 of an inch. That fraction, since there's a common factor of 2, can be reduced. We could call it 5 2/5 of an inch, or converted into the decimal equivalency, 5.4 inches.